In an unprecedented move that's shaking the very foundations of Canadian politics and reverberating across the globe, Chrystia Freeland, one of Canada's most influential leaders, is stepping down from her powerful role as a member of Parliament. But this isn't just another political resignation. Freeland, the former Deputy Prime Minister and a fierce advocate for Ukraine, is walking away from her seat in Parliament to become an unpaid advisor to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. So why is this decision sparking such a firestorm? Why would a woman who's held some of Canada's highest offices make such a bold move in the midst of global turmoil? This isn't just about Freeland's personal career. This is about geopolitics, democracy, and the future of international relations. Stick with me as we dive deep into the story of Freeland's unexpected departure, the global consequences, and what this means for the future of Canada and Ukraine. Chrystia Freeland's announcement may seem like just another political shuffle, but it's anything but ordinary. She isn't just resigning from a political office. She's leaving behind a powerful position in Canada's government to dedicate herself to a cause that's become the world's focal point, the war in Ukraine. For over a decade, Freeland has been at the heart of Canadian politics. From serving as finance minister to her role in international trade, she's been a key player in shaping Canada's global economic stance. But what makes this move so significant? It's not just her decision to leave her seat in the University Rosedale riding, one of Canada's most secure liberal strongholds. It's the underlying tensions that this resignation reveals. Freeland's break from Justin Trudeau's government, punctuated by a public resignation letter in 2024, marked a turning point. Her departure from the Liberal Party in protest over trade policy signaled a fracture, one that's now playing out on the international stage. And now, as she steps into an advisory role with Zelensky, questions arise. What does this mean for Canada's foreign policy? And what message does it send to the world? To truly understand the significance of Freeland's decision, we need to take a step back and examine the broader context. Chrystia Freeland's political career didn't just spring up overnight. It's the culmination of years of work, a relentless commitment to public service, and a unique connection to the global stage. Freeland's rise began as a journalist, but her real breakthrough came when she entered the world of Canadian politics in 2013. She quickly rose through the ranks, securing key positions in Justin Trudeau's government. As Canada's finance minister, she made history as the first woman to hold that office, guiding the country through one of the most tumultuous financial crises in recent history, the COVID-19 pandemic. Her role as a fierce advocate for Ukraine, however, traces back even further. In 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea, Freeland was placed on a Kremlin blacklist, banned from entering Russia in retaliation for Canada's sanctions. Her personal ties to Ukraine as the granddaughter of Ukrainian immigrants added a deeply personal dimension to her advocacy. Freeland's decision to step down from her role as a Canadian MP isn't just political, it's rooted in a long-standing commitment to democracy and international solidarity. But her break from Trudeau's leadership, coupled with her new position in Zelensky's war effort, signals a shift in the balance of power. When Freeland made her announcement, the political world took notice, and so did her critics. The timing couldn't be more dramatic. As Freeland prepares to leave her secure seat in Parliament, the decision has ignited a firestorm of debate. It's one thing for a politician to step down from office, but when the reason is to join the advisory team of a foreign leader in the midst of an ongoing war, the stakes are much higher. What makes this crisis even more charged is the reaction from her own country. Opposition politicians, particularly conservative foreign affairs critic Michael Chong, have been vocal in their condemnation. He argues that a Canadian MP simply cannot serve as an advisor to a foreign government, especially in such a sensitive time. His stance is clear. Freeland must choose between her role in Parliament or as an advisor to Zelensky. This crisis isn't just about the political fallout in Canada. It's a reflection of the growing divide between global diplomatic interests and national loyalty. And it raises a fundamental question. Can a Canadian politician truly represent the interests of their own country while taking on an advisory role for a foreign government at war? Behind Freeland's decision lies more than just a political shift. It's a reflection of the broader mechanisms shaping global power dynamics. Freeland's new role as an economic advisor to Ukraine is a clear response to the shifting tides of geopolitics. But it's also about how deeply intertwined the fates of nations are in the context of international diplomacy. At its core, Freeland's move illustrates the push and pull between national sovereignty and global cooperation. Ukraine's struggle for survival against Russian aggression is not just a war for territory, it's a battle for democratic values. And Canada's commitment to these ideals has become central to Freeland's career. Yet, This dynamic doesn't come without consequences. Freeland's transition from a key position in Canada's government to advising Zelensky reveals the growing trend of global politicians shifting from national roles to international advisory positions in times of crisis. It's a mechanism that speaks to the increasing reliance on international expertise over traditional national leadership. But this shift also exposes cracks in the global system. When powerful figures move between nations, advising foreign leaders, it can blur lines of loyalty, creating potential conflicts of interest. For Freeland, the question remains, how will she navigate this delicate balance without compromising her credibility or the integrity of Canada's foreign policies? Just when you think the situation couldn't get any more charged, Freeland's resignation brings another level of complexity. Her stepping down from Parliament and assuming an advisory role in Ukraine isn't just a political decision. It's a direct challenge to Canada's internal unity and international standing. The crisis deepens as Freeland's role is scrutinized not only by Canadian opposition but also by global actors. Critics argue that by aligning herself so closely with Zelensky during a time of intense conflict, she's undermining Canada's position as an independent global actor. Some see this as a distraction from Canada's own domestic issues, such as economic recovery and the ongoing debate over tariffs and trade deals with the US. And then there's the matter of her departure from the Canadian government in 2024, after publicly accusing Trudeau of mishandling US tariffs. The fracture between them now takes on a more personal dimension. Freeland's resignation is not just an exit from Parliament, it's a symbolic break from the status quo, both politically and globally. The stakes are high as the fallout from her decision continues to unfold, raising fundamental questions about the balance between national loyalty and international duty. What will be the long-term impact of this unprecedented move? Freeland's departure isn't just affecting politicians and governments. It's reverberating through the lives of the very people she was elected to represent. For the constituents of University Rosedale in Toronto, her resignation represents a significant loss. Freeland was not just an MP, she was a visible symbol of leadership, someone who had been deeply involved in shaping Canadian policies on everything from trade to national security. But her decision to leave her post and take on a foreign advisory role has stirred emotions. For many, the question isn't just about Freeland's career, it's about the future of their representation. Can anyone truly fill her shoes? Freeland's decision, though personal, has sparked a broader emotional response from Canadians. While some view her shift as a courageous move in the service of global democracy, others feel abandoned by a leader who has opted to leave her home country at a time of political and economic uncertainty. The emotional toll is not just political, it's deeply personal for her supporters, who may feel that the ideals she championed have been replaced by a global agenda. For Freeland's constituents, the resignation may feel like a betrayal, and for many Canadians, it's a reminder that global politics can sometimes take precedence over local needs. The consequences of Freeland's departure extend far beyond the borders of Canada. Her new role as an advisor to Zelensky places Canada in the midst of a global power struggle, one that has already drawn sharp lines between the West and Russia. As a key figure in the global response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Freeland's resignation is a symbol of Canada's deeper commitment to the Ukrainian cause. But her transition to this advisory role isn't just about her personal dedication, it's about Canada's evolving place in the international order. With global alliances shifting rapidly, Freeland's move underscores a growing trend of political figures crossing borders to influence foreign policy. The move signals to the world that Canada, under Freeland's leadership, is aligning itself more closely with Ukraine, and by extension, with the Western Bloc. At the same time, Freeland's decision brings with it political risks. For Ukraine, having a former Canadian Deputy Prime Minister in an advisory role strengthens its global support base. But it also highlights the geopolitical polarization that's growing between Western nations and Russia, leaving little room for middle ground diplomacy. The world is watching. Freeland's departure from Parliament signals a shift in Canada's foreign priorities, and her involvement in the Ukrainian war effort may further define Canada's future role on the world stage, one that's aligned with global democracy, but one that also risks alienating those who view her actions as overstepping the boundaries of national loyalty. The consequences of Freeland's decision to leave Parliament and take on an advisory role with Zelensky aren't just confined to the present, they're shaping the future in significant ways. So, what happens next? Let's explore three possible scenarios. A strengthened Canada-Ukraine alliance. In this scenario, Freeland's move is seen as a bold and strategic step in strengthening Canada's position as a global player. Her deep ties to Ukraine, combined with her political experience, enable her to broker new investments, bolster Ukraine's economic transformation, and reinforce Canada's commitment to democratic values. Canada's foreign policy shifts towards a more active role in international diplomacy, forging closer ties with European allies and emerging as a key player in rebuilding Ukraine post-war. 2. The middle road, a divided Canada, but strong global ties. In this more moderate outcome, Freeland's resignation causes temporary domestic instability. Her critics, both within and outside her party, continue to question her dual roles and loyalty to Canada. While she succeeds in contributing to Ukraine's recovery, the political fallout in Canada causes a rift within the Liberal Party, weakening Trudeau's influence domestically. However, on the global stage, Canada remains a respected diplomatic partner, and Freeland's involvement helps maintain its status as a key player in the Western alliance. 3. The pessimistic scenario, polarization and loss of credibility. In the worst-case scenario, Freeland's decision is viewed as a betrayal of her constituents and Canada's sovereignty. The backlash from both opposition politicians and the public intensifies, creating a divided nation. Canada's political landscape becomes more polarized, with the Conservative Party gaining ground by capitalizing on Freeland's controversial resignation. On the international front, Canada risks losing influence, as allies begin to question whether Freeland's dual role compromises Canada's ability to act independently in future diplomatic negotiations. No matter which path unfolds, one thing is clear. Freeland's departure is a pivotal moment in both Canadian and global politics. The future hinges on how this decision is perceived and how Canada navigates the delicate balance between national interests and global responsibilities. As we've seen, Chrystia Freeland's decision to resign from Parliament and take on a role advising Ukraine's President Zelensky is far more than a simple career move. It's a political earthquake that is shifting the ground beneath both Canadian and global politics. In the grand scheme of things, Freeland's move forces us to confront the complexities of modern diplomacy. The lines between national interests and global alliances are becoming increasingly blurred, and politicians like Freeland are at the forefront of this change. Her decision may be a gamble, but it's one rooted in her long-standing commitment to the values of democracy and freedom. As Canada watches its political landscape evolve, one question remains. Can we continue to balance our domestic priorities with the global role we've chosen to play? Freeland's exit might be a moment of division, but it's also a call to action. It's a reminder that the world is watching, and our decisions today will shape the future of both our nation and the global community. So, where do we go from here? What will Canada's role be on the world stage? The answer lies in how we respond to this new era of political and diplomatic complexity. The stage is set, and now it's up to the next generation of leaders to take the reins.